I always giggle when I hear someone say that they can scientifically prove that God exists. Usually the proof they give of God's existence comes from somewhere in their head or from some religious book that has been discredited as a collection of farcical stories, and in the case of the Mormons, an outright fraud. Even better, in Scientology, when you hear a religion or a cult call themselves something that starts with science, as in Scientology, you can laugh even louder. It is laughable to try to include science as part of religion because the two mix like water and oil. The only time religion and science mix well is when scientific evidence debunks the religious myths. And there has been thousands upon thousands of religious myths to date, and they have been, forget the pun, crucified by science. We know that lightning and thunder are not the wrath of God. We can now explain a lot of once upon a time scary or puzzling natural events, and we can explain them with great accuracy, to the point where it is fully accepted as fact. Thunderstorm has nothing to do with God being angry. Now we know. Science collects and explores the evidence. It carefully sifts through patterns of evidence and builds hypotheses from the data. When a body of evidence reaches a certain critical point, it becomes accepted as a theory, which in science is the highest point any particular field can reach. For example, evolution is a theory, meaning that it is rock solid and established. There will be no foreseeable major changes to it. Evolution is fact, undeniable scientific fact. Darwin, one of the pioneers of evolution, has been proved right. However, some of the hypotheses that Darwin put forward were also proved wrong by the same science that overall proved the theory of evolution. Isn't it healthy when science can act as a gateway and let the truth through while stopping inaccurate presumptions? That's how the world has progressed. That's why you drive a car and use an electronic device to obtain this information. My very favorite argument for creationism is when people say, look outside, look at the clouds, look at the birds, look at the trees. Who else but God could have created this wonderful world? Except we know how the clouds are created. In fact, we know the different types of clouds and how and why they form. And we have even greater knowledge of birds, trees, and all the wonderful components of the world around us and ourselves. And we know that the force at play in nature is evolution and not creation. When I said that clouds are created, they're created in a process. Clouds don't just appear out of nowhere. They form from something else. If religion required the same standard of evidence as science does, it would have already self-destroyed a long time ago. We saw that science starts from observations and later derives conclusions from the data. Religion is the opposite. It starts from the conclusion and then tries to clumsily make the facts fit the narrow path that it has created for itself. This is why you hear religious nutters say things like, how else would you explain this aside from God? Or, if God didn't make this, then who is it? Only a terribly unscientific mind can suggest that it must be God when we don't have any other explanation. Have you thought about waiting until we have more evidence to prove it one way or another? This pathological fear of saying, I don't know, has all but discredited religion. Nowadays, people are more educated, more aware, they have access to the internet to verify pretend facts, and really, bullshit is a whole lot harder to swallow than it used to be. Because science has battered religion, a lot of effort has been made in creating alternative sciences complete with their own professional organizations, their own peer-reviewed journals, pretend stuff really like the religion they seek to justify. And all of this magical little world exists outside real science. This pile of pseudo-science still trying to desperately explain God and associated delusions, is the last effort of a dying body that never had anything really going for itself, other than people's gullibility and their inability to admit that they were wrong. So enters the field of creationism, an utter joke that claims that the earth is 6,000 or 10,000 years old at the most. They make this claim, and without blinking, at a very time in this world where we are still discovering fossils that are over 1.5 billion years old. Hello? But how much can you be wrong? They use their twisted pseudo-science to try to get people to doubt everything and anything, including scientific dating methods that are well established and used in combination with each other to ensure accuracy. They claim that it is the measurement that is wrong, but the pseudoscience used by creationism today is as powerful as a worm trying to dig a tunnel into the Great Wall of China. That's the scale of things. And as they are busy taking pot shots at established science, they're shooting themselves in the foot again. Because if you follow their story, and 8 people were on Noah's Ark and then repopulated the whole world, there will not have been sufficient people on Earth to build the Egyptian pyramids. Whoops! We didn't see that one coming. Religion or science? Pick your side. You can either side with objectivity, sound methodology, and constant review, or you can side with an old book, discredited for hundreds of years, and a pack of desperados trying to shine one last time before their impending execution on the altar of science.